Hey everyone, and welcome once again to the DT Sports Report. We made it all the way to episode 6, and we're still here. I'm Jon Arnold, here with Alex Ybarra on my left, and we'll jump right into it. Tech spring football has been going strong. We talked about it last week. It opened up. This week, of course, it continues. What else is it going to do? Wednesday, an interesting practice. Got a little chippy. A couple of fights broke out. Taylor Potts in the offense didn't have such a great day. What do you make of the practice on Wednesday?
Well, it's just a little bit of the transition that people are going to see. You lose Graham Harrell, someone who's been here for 3 years. You see a lot of complete passes. You see a lot of deep balls, a lot of great decisions. That just is a product of experience. And then you see Taylor Potts come in, and he's a guy who obviously has been a starter for 2 years, but he hasn't had this amount of reps on a consistent basis. So then you see the defense kind of start to get a feel for how he runs things, and he kind of had a pretty bad day. 3-4 interceptions yesterday, and you saw the defense really gain a lot of confidence over this offense. And not only was it Potts, but you saw some of the receivers struggling. And I think it's just a transition thing. You're going to see this happen here in the spring, and hopefully for Tech fans and for Mike Leach and this whole offense, Taylor Potts will become more comfortable as he gets used to these reps and as the spring season and next fall progresses.
As I already mentioned, it got a little chippy out there. A couple of little skirmishes between the offense and defense, which we're used to seeing that. It's not the first time that the offensive defense have kind of gotten into it a little bit. Do you think there's anything to that? Is there any problems, chemistry issues, or is it just something that kind of happens every spring?
That's what happens every spring when these guys put on the pads. I mean, they put on the pads for the first time on Monday, and you just see them get, like you said, they get chippy, and they get out there. People say things. The defense was getting heated because, Harrison Jeffers was doing well. The offense, had a few good plays. And then you see Coach Ruffin McNeil and Coach Dennis Simmons kind of get into a little skirmish because Sam Fehoko went in there and tried to swing his helmet. He went in there without his helmet, and Simmons told him to get out of the scrum. And, of course, McNeil comes in and stands up for his player. So, that kind of happens. And, of course, they just brushed it off after the practice, and everything goes back to normal. That's football for you.
Yeah, and they were joking around in the locker room afterwards. Kind of think it's just kind of a rite of spring. We get excited about it. The players get excited about it. Everybody's glad to be back. What we are going to do on the DT Sports Report is we're going to take you through kind of position by position, previewing every position for the 2009 season and what we're seeing out there in spring practice. And the logical place to start, of course, is the quarterback position. Graham Harrell was there last year. He's lost to graduation. Harrell was very comfortable with the offense, had started in previous season, was very comfortable with the offense. Now it's Taylor Potts, and it's his show to run, basically. But he's not the only quarterback out there this spring.
Yeah, you're right. Seth Dagey behind him. You hope that these guys can push Potts and make this a competitive battle, because the last thing you want is for Potts to kind of sit back and say, this is my job for sure. You want Dagey, who's definitely capable of pushing for the job. And you don't think he's going to get the job, of course, because Potts has the arm strength, the accuracy, and the experience in this offense, that he is the number one guy right now. But if he keeps playing like he has been in spring practice, and this receiving corps doesn't get it together, and it's obvious that Mike Leach is not happy with how things have been running lately, then you might see Dagey kind of maybe get some more reps, things like that. But absolutely, I think that there are a stable of quarterbacks there that can make things, not competitive, but interesting.
You talked about Potts, his strengths, the strong arm. What are the weaknesses of Potts?
I'd probably say just looking at what Graham Harrell was able to do last year, he just knew where to go with the ball. You felt like he could run the offense blindfolded. And you throw in Potts, he's just inexperienced as the starter. This is his first year. You can't expect him to come in and do what Graham Harrell did in his third year, or not even what Graham Harrell did in his second year. Right. So it's just a part of growing in this offense. And right now, I'd probably say what Potts' problem has been is he's trying to force a lot of throws.
What about Dagey and Sheffield? What are their strengths? What are they going to use to challenge Potts for the role?
Dagey has leadership ability. He's got the it factor. He's able to come in. He makes very confident throws. He's very confident in the pocket. And that's just everything you want in a quarterback for Mike Leach. And Stephen Sheffield, I don't really think he's going to compete very much for this job. To me, it's just Dagey and Potts out there, and for those two guys to try and bring this offense along in the spring.
Most years in spring's practice, Mike Leach has kind of said, well, the quarterback position will be open. A little different last year with Harrell, of course, returning. It was pretty clear that Harrell would be the starter. This year, it seems like Potts will be the starter for sure. What are the chances that it becomes a battle in spring practice or next year?
I mean, right now, after Wednesday's practice, the chances of it becoming a legitimate battle for who will be the starting quarterback maybe are a little bit better than they have been before these practices because you see Potts kind of struggling. He's had a lot of interceptions on Wednesday, and we'll see how he does today in spring practice. But for Potts' sake, I mean, the weather has been horrendous in Lubbock, but that's no excuse. Leach has said before, this is just an adversity factor and those things like that. So I think Potts definitely should be able to weather the storm and hopefully get his accuracy coming back.
Right, we'll be, of course, previewing another position on the DT Sports Report next week. Hope you guys will join us for that. We do want to move to Tech baseball. 3-game series against A&M this week. They split the New Mexico series they played midweek, and also the Texas series. They took 1 game off Texas, a very good team. A&M also a good team, ranked in the top 30 of Baseball America. Not in the other poll. I'm not really sure what the discrepancy is there, but A&M is a very strong pitching team. What does Tech have to do to win this series?
Well, they just got to be happy to be home. This is Dan Law Field. This is friendly confines, and I think they're going to give A&M a pretty good game. But also they have to shore up their relief pitching. They got to make sure that that whenever they have the ability to tie the game or they're up with a real slim lead, they got to be able to hold on to that. Or in the case as it was against New Mexico earlier this week, if you're down by 1, you can't let them go and score 7 or 8 runs like New Mexico did. And this is just something that's been a problem for Tech all year.
Right. That about does it for us here at the DT Sports Report. We'd like to thank you guys for watching. As always, if you want to get in touch with us, leave a comment on the site or dtonlineeditor@gmail.com. Also, we're both on Twitter now. That's pretty exciting. Names are on the screen right now. So follow us, do whatever. We'd love to hear from you guys. We thank you for watching the show. Have a great week.